All right, let's dive in. Today, we're basically going to be data detectives. We're cracking a case where all the clues are buried in this massive data set of hotel bookings. Our mission? To take all that raw, messy data and turn it into actual, smart business decisions. Let's get to it. So our whole investigation kicks off right here. We've got a single file with nearly 119,000 booking records. Just think about that for a second. That's a mountain of information. It covers everything from who booked, when they stayed, how much they paid, all the way from July 2015 to August 2017. But here's the thing, 100,000 records, that's a lot. But on its own, it's really just noise, right? The real challenge, the real mystery we have to solve is finding the signal in all that noise. How do we make these thousands of rows actually tell a story that can help a business make smarter moves? At the heart of our case, we've got two main subjects, a super busy city hotel and a more laid-back resort hotel. They're both sitting on this gold mine of data, but they just don't have the clarity to see the patterns, the risks, and all the opportunities hiding inside. So, before we can even think about finding answers, we've got to clean up the crime scene. In the world of data, this first step is called ETL. That stands for extract, transform, and load. It's the super important groundwork of taking all that messy, raw information and turning it into clean, reliable evidence we can actually trust. Okay, so our process for gathering the clues really breaks down into three critical steps. First, we have to deal with all the missing pieces of information. Then, we need to make absolutely sure every single booking and every customer can be uniquely identified. And last but not least, we've got to protect people's privacy by getting rid of any sensitive personal data. And we're not just tidying up here, this is some real forensic data work. By replacing missing values, we make sure our calculations are actually correct. Creating those unique IDs for every booking and customer means we can track things without any confusion. And of course, removing personal info makes the whole analysis ethical and secure. Okay, so our clues are gathered, they're all cleaned up and organized. Now it's time for the next phase, connecting the dots. This is where we build the engine that's going to let us ask questions and get real, meaningful answers. And we do that by creating something called a data model. Now, the model we're using here is a professional standard called a star schema. I know, it sounds super technical, but the analogy on the slide makes it really simple. Just picture a detective's case board from a movie. Right in the center, you've got your main evidence. That's the fact table with all the booking numbers. And then all around it, you have your photos and notes. Those are the dimension tables that give you all the context: who, what, when, and where. And this table right here shows you that structure perfectly. We've got one central fact table, and it's connected to 13 different dimension tables that provide context on everything from the customer to their home country. These connections, these relationships, that's the secret sauce that lets us analyze the data from pretty much any angle we want. Our case board is all set up, the evidence is organized, the connections are all made. Now it's time for the fun part. It's time to really interrogate the data and start asking it the tough questions. And to ask these questions, we create very specific calculations. We're digging for key metrics like total revenue and cancellation rates. But we're also going deeper, comparing performance year over year and even figuring out the exact timing of when people are canceling. And all of that hard work, the cleaning, the modeling, the questioning, it all leads to this moment, the big reveal. This is where the data finally gets to speak, to tell its story through a dynamic 5-page dashboard. So let's check out the key findings. First up, the headline number. The total revenue uncovered from all these bookings is a whopping $11.6 million. Right away, that establishes the scale and just how important it is to understand what's driving this number. So where is all that revenue coming from? Well, the data is crystal clear. The City Hotel is the big winner here, accounting for 2/3 of all the bookings. That tells us right off the bat where the bulk of the operational focus needs to be. And how are these customers actually finding the hotels? This is a huge insight for marketing. Almost half of all bookings, come through online travel agents. This shows the business its most important marketing channel, but it also kind of highlights a major dependency. But the investigation also uncovered a major problem, a big vulnerability. The dashboard revealed this really strong connection between the hotel's deposit policy and whether or not a customer was going to cancel their booking. And bam, this chart says it all. Just look at that difference. The cancellation rate for bookings made with no deposit is dramatically higher than for those where a deposit was paid. The big takeaway here is that a lenient booking policy might seem customer-friendly, but it's directly costing the hotels money in lost revenue. The data also revealed these really clear patterns in timing. We can see exactly when the average daily rate, or ADR, starts to climb in the spring, when it peaks in the summer, and then when it starts to fall off. This isn't just a fun fact. It's a blueprint for a dynamic pricing strategy to maximize revenue. And finally, the dashboard even gives us these simple but really powerful insights for day-to-day operations. You know what the most popular, most requested room was across both hotels? Room type A. That little piece of information helps with inventory management, renovation plans, and even marketing. So we've seen the clues, we've connected the dots, and we've heard the story. So what's the final verdict? Why does all of this forensic data work actually matter in the real world? It matters because this investigation didn't just spit out a report, it unlocked a strategic playbook. Every single insight translates directly into a smart business decision. Tighten up that no deposit policy, double down on marketing with online travel agents, adjust prices with the seasons, and manage room inventory better. It's the whole journey, from data to insight to action. This whole journey started with just a single data file, something that looked like just a boring list of bookings. But with the right tools and by asking the right questions, it became this incredible source of strategic value. And it really leaves you with one final question to think about. What mysteries could be hiding in your data?